Hi, this will be a very quick video that allows me to demonstrate the COUNTIF and COUNTA functions. So this is a somewhat familiar spreadsheet. It was actually given as a practice sheet in week 2. But what I want to do is calculate frequency, and I pretend I have a list of grades up here. And you'll notice that the letter grade for the students has been assigned down column K in the range of cells K2 through K9. And I might be interested in knowing how frequently F occurred, how frequently D occurred, and so forth. So I have a lookup table constructed down here. That lookup table will be shaded here in just a moment. Okay, so to make this perfectly clear to you, I'll use a fill color. And so the cells that I have, let me try that again. I'm not sure what happened. Let me try it again. All right, so the cells that I have colored here begin in cell L15 and extend through M19, L15 through M19. So that's going to be my lookup table down here. And I'll go ahead and just take out these letter grades that have been typed in and demonstrate the VLOOKUP function to return those grades. So this will act as a little bit of review here as well. So let me clear out all this, and I'll use the clear tool and clear all. Put in a lookup function, so it'll be equal V lookup, and the cell that I want to have it monitor and compare to this index column is, in this case, for this particular cell, will be J2. So I'm going to enter that in as a relative cell address because I'm going to want that row coordinate to change. And then I need to provide the absolute location of my lookup table. And again, that was in, it looks like L15 through M19. So L $15 colon M $19, and then the return value column is at a displacement of 2 in the table, so my third argument for the VLOOKUP function is going to be a 2. All that has been explained previously, so should make sense, and it returns a D, and that's good. That's what I wanted. And now if I copy it down, it's going to copy that first argument in a relative way. It's going to copy the second argument in an absolute way. And it assigns letter grades this time not by typing them in, but by using the VLOOKUP function. Now that the grades have been assigned in range of cells from K2 through K9, I'm interested in knowing the frequency. Okay? And this is where COUNTIF is going to come in. Now, the COUNTIF function itself, and I'm going to type this in a couple of times, okay? The COUNTIF function will have this general form. Let me go over here and insert a shape, a text box. And I'll give you the general form of both of these functions. So the general form of the COUNTIF function is going to be that it begins with the keyword COUNTIF, and then it has 2 arguments. One is going to be the cells to examine, and this is typically specified as a range. So let me just put in range of cells to examine. And then the second argument is going to be the pattern to find, pattern to look for. Okay, so what this will do is it'll look at a range of cells, and then it's going to tell me how many times a certain pattern occurs, and it's going to return an integer value. So the range I want it to look at is going to be K through K9, and I want it to look at that using absolute cell references. So I'll put in the COUNTIF function itself, and then I'm going to make a modification to that. So I'll have COUNTIF, so like all functions, begins with count, and you'll notice I'm typing this in lowercase now. That was an accident, but it doesn't matter because it's not case sensitive. The range, the IntelliSense is asking for a range. The range is going to be this range right here, so I can highlight it and let it fill in. And the pattern that I want it to look for is F's. Now, I could type in F, but since the value F is in the cell immediately to the left, I could make reference to that cell address, which would be cell M15, and that's actually going to be the better way to do this, and you'll see why here in a moment. So I'm going to type in M15 and hit the enter key, and it should return a value of 1, and it does, returns a value of 1. Why? Because it found the occurrence of that pattern that it sees in cell M15, which is the string value F, finds that one time in the range of cells from K2 through K9. Now, I'm going to go back and change this a little bit. I'm going to put in an absolute cell reference here for this range of cells that it's to look through. And if I fill down, then it shows me the number of D's in this range is 1, the number of C's is 1, the number of A's is 2, the number of B's is... number of B's is 2, and the number of A's is 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sorry, I'm old. I didn't see things clearly there. Okay, and so that gives me not the frequency, but it gives me a count of. Now, if I want that frequency expressed in terms of a percentage, what I would want to do is divide this value by the number of items in the list, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 values assigned in that range. Okay, and if I were to divide that by 8, well, just go ahead and do it. Divide it by 8. Hit the enter key. It'll give me a numeric value that represents the percentage expressed as a decimal. And if I multiply that then by 10, by 100, if I multiply it times 100, it's going to give me the percentage expressed this way. And then if I want to check my work, I could say down here, sum, and come over here and use the sum function, sum, and all this should add up to 100. Let me undo that. That was bad. Well, alright, so I can do this and fix my clumsy problem here. Alright, now let me try this one more time. So equals sum, that's going to be in the range of in 15 through in 19. So I'll just say, oh, the problem is I didn't put an equal sign in here. That's why it's messing up. Let me try this again. Sum, this should be like trivial to do this. There. Okay, so it's not trivial. Equals sum. Now can I try it? Boy, I hate that I have the video recording going. Okay, don't know what my problem is, other than maybe I'm a little bit fatigued. I don't know. Alright, I fixed it. getting rid of that. I'm going to try this one more time, or else I'll stop the video and re-record, and then you'll never know that I made a mistake. Alright, so equal sum. Now I should be able to just highlight this range like that and close off the paren, and voila, there's 100%. So the sum of all this adds up to 100%. That's all I was trying to show you, and I have no idea why I struggled so much to do that. Okay, so that tells me that 12.5% of all the scores in this range are F's, and likewise for each one of the other values. Now, I'm going to show you the best way to do this, okay? So using the COUNTIF function is kind of nice, and I could have, in the COUNTIF function, I could have chosen to put in a string literal here, put in double quote F double quote, but if I'd have done that, then I would have had to come down here and modify the function and put, you know, for that second argument, double quote D in double quote, and, you know, done it for each one of these things. But by referencing the cell where the corresponding value already exists, it makes it real easy when I want to drag down. Now, what I want to do is replace this 8 with another function, and the other function that I want to replace it with is the COUNTA function. So what does the COUNTA function do? Well, the COUNTA function is going to return the number of non-blank cells in a range. And that range, again, is going to be, in my case, so I'll just say generically, range of cells. Okay, so it only has one argument. One argument. Now, if I apply it over here, okay, if I apply it over here for the moment, equal count A, and then that range of cell, you know, is K2 through K9. So if I said K2 colon K9, return, gives me a value of 8, which is my divisor. Okay, so I could replace 8 with a value that the function returns, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to now escape. I'm going to click here. I'm going to clear out everything here, and I'm going to go back to this cell, and I'm going to put in a function, and that function will be count A, and I'm going to give it a range of cells, K2 through K9, K $2 colon K $9. Hit the enter key. Comes back 12.5, same calculation. If I drag it down, same calculations. The only thing is, this time I'm returning a value of 8 as a result of this function. So why would I do that? I don't know. Maybe at some point Curly comes in and says, hey, Curly's not a good example. Let's take, for instance, Shemp comes in and says, hey, I've decided to drop this class or something, and I've gotten special permission from the dean because I've done so lousy, and they're not even going to, you know, indicate that I took the class. They're going to withdraw me without a W. They've made some sort of special exception in my case, in which case I might say, okay, I'm going to leave record of all these grades, but I'm just going to get rid of this value right here. I'm going to clear it out, and so I'll clear all from here, and you'll notice what happens is it recalculates. Now there's 0 F's, and you know, it's recalculated a different percentage for the rest of the grades. So the moral of the story is I'm going to use these functions both COUNTIF and COUNTA, because they're going to make my spreadsheet more flexible so that it adapts to changes in the data. Okay, well, hopefully that makes sense, and you're going to need to know how to do this. So you can use COUNTIF to return an integer value, a whole number value that corresponds with the number of times that it sees a pattern occur within a range specified by the first argument, pattern specified by the second argument. And you can use COUNTA to return an integer value that corresponds with the number of non-blank cells in a range. And you can either return those integer values and view them, or you can use those integer values as part of a larger computation.